So I'm finding out that Trump supporters are upset because they're about to lose their health care and their insurance, and their children that are under the age of 26 are about to be kicked off because they voted to repeal the Affordable Health Care Act.
The US healthcare system is insane.
I lost my health insurance coverage back in September when my subsidies went from $25 a month to $516 a month. And this was not like premium top grade insurance.
The United States healthcare system is broken. I've seen
The American healthcare system needs to get the fuck out of here, okay? This is crazy. I just asked for an itemized bill of earlier this month where I was dying and I needed to be hospitalized for 3 days. Bitch, the total of that 3-day service was $83,334.33. For what?
Let's slow this down for a second because this one is personal. We are not talking about politics. We are talking about hospital visits, prescription, people trying to survive, and now some folks are feeling the impact directly, not on TV, not in debates, in real life. And when something eats your health, everything changes. Before I go deeper, go watch the clips people are really ranting on. Take it in fully, because when you come back, you are going to say this differently. Let's go watch those clips and we'll come back for our full detailed analysis.
The American healthcare system needs to get the fuck out of here, okay? This is crazy. I just asked for an itemized bill of earlier this month where I was dying and I needed to be hospitalized for 3 days. Bitch, the total of that 3-day service was $83,334.33. For what? For what? Oh my god. And I'm wondering if I get a degree with this service, or walking down an aisle for surviving. You must be out your mind. This is the price of an Ivy League program. Not only was I dysfunctional during half of this stuff, I also didn't ask for half this stuff. Blood must cure cancer with how much they charge me for blood work. You gotta be $6,000. It sounds like I need to be reimbursed for all the stuff y'all took out of my body. Here's the fun part. $10,296. Do you know what that's for? That is for the HB room board semi-private med bed. What? Who the hell asked for that? I just need my airways open. Mind you, I got back problems. I really got back problems for 3 days in that bed. So make it make sense. Albuterol at home costs like $30. Apparently, in a hospital, it's like $462. I just needed help to open my airways. You would have thought I left with a baby. So moral of the story, it's better to ride it out and talk to Jesus. Because if it's your time to go, it's your time to go. If it's your time to stay, then he's going to make a way.
So I'm finding out that Trump supporters are upset because they're about to lose their health care and their insurance, and their children that are under the age of 26 are about to be kicked off because they voted to repeal the Affordable Health Care Act. And they didn't even realize that they were doing this. And I'm going to pretend that they're not racist and they forgot that they just didn't like Obamacare because it was named after Obama. But I am concerned that they forgot that the last act of John McCain's life, that one of his legacies was to stand on the Senate floor and go like this. Do we have such a short-term memory that we forgot his legacy to stand up to Donald Trump and uphold the health or affordable health care?
The US healthcare system is insane. I just want to start this off by saying that I have really good insurance under my parents' names. And I had to go to the ER in November for a cluster headache that was on day 2 that would not cease after migraine medication, everything that I could take and think of. So I had to go to the ER to make the pain stop because I literally couldn't do anything without shooting pain. Anyways, for the one visit, $34,000. $28,000 is not covered. my mom goes, well, when you go to the ER, did you check that they were in network? And I said, it's the same building where I go to my other doctors. I figured it would be in network. She goes, no, Lindsay, sometimes if the ER doctors are not in network, you have to check for the individual doctors. And I'm like, Mom, it's the ER. You think I don't check? I don't check that before I go. I just...
The United States healthcare system is broken. I've seen a lot of videos on TikTok and different places over the past couple of days ever since this big, beautiful bill thing is happening. And a lot of them have been saying, I've worked my whole life and I've done this, and the people who whatever in the Medicaid, because basically the thought process seemingly is that the people on Medicaid, are the ones who just want the stuff and don't want all that. So I'm going to tell you something. My grandmother worked her entire life and had retirement, had savings, and she ended up with, a lot of different medical problems, including dementia. And she's in her 90s now and doesn't know any of us and has been living in a memory unit. She's on Medicaid. Everything, now she's on Medicaid, but she had to deplete every asset that she had before she was allowed on Medicaid. So yeah, she worked her whole life. She did exactly what she was supposed to do. Had the retirement, had all of it. And not anymore, and hasn't for years. Years ago, that was depleted. And now she's on Medicare and Medicaid. Now her long-term care, facility care, is Medicaid. So, this impacts people who did all the right things, who worked hard their whole life. And the thing is you don't get the help that you need when you are older until you have spent every single freaking penny that you have. So, be careful what you say. Because until it hits you, United States healthcare system is broken. It's absolutely broken.
People are not going to fucking believe this. Just yesterday, I made a video saying that we should have had Medicare for all in this country 80 goddamn years ago. And the only reason we don't is because every single one of our health insurers are greedy, blood-sucking fucking parasites. Well, just this morning, I woke up to an email from my health insurer, Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. In that email was an explanation of benefits saying that I owe $12,000 for some lab work I had done back in September. Now, it's true, in September, I had a doctor's appointment, and when I made that appointment, I was very careful to choose a doctor that was in network at a place that was in network. During that appointment, they said, hey, do you want to do some lab work? I said, yes. I thought it was fucking part of it. No one explained that it was going to cost me $12,000 to get this lab work done, and the lab that they used to do that lab work was apparently not in network. And now I owe $12,000. All right, for 12 grand, I could fly to Paris, get the lab work done, spend 3 months in Paris doing whatever it is Parisians do, eating baguettes and sighing non-committally, I guess, and then come back to the United States. This entire country fucking sucks. Everything about it is a goddamn con designed to take money out of your wallet and put it into the wallets of people who are vastly more wealthy than you could ever goddamn imagine.
I lost my health insurance coverage back in September when my subsidies went from $25 a month to $516 a month. And this was not like premium top grade insurance, right? And so I have been without. And I was hanging out with some older friends of mine last night, and they were telling me that, you really need to be on health insurance. If you get hurt, if you get sick, you will be financially ruined. And I was telling them that I had been on health insurance for the last few years. And the last several times I went to the doctors, they did not help me. I I had to pay hundreds of dollars out of pocket for doctors to look me in my face and say things like, use your hands less. That was the actual medical diagnosis. When I went in, I thought I had rheumatoid arthritis in my hands at age 35. And my doctor's advice was, use your hands less. I paid money for her to tell me that. And then last year, I had a stomach issue. I tried to go to the clinic and they're like, well, because it's your stomach, you have to go to the ER in case you're pregnant. I'm like, I'm definitely not pregnant. It is a 0% chance that I am pregnant. Let me just assure you, okay, the life I live, I'm not pregnant. And they're like, sorry, I literally could not go to a clinic, which only would have cost me $120 out the door for everything that I needed. They had to refund me and make me go to the ER. So then I'm at the ER for 5.5 hours. I have to get a CT scan, which charged my insurance $15,000. I end up paying over $600 out of pocket for, at the end of this visit, for the doctor to look me in the eyeballs and shrug and say, maybe try over-the-counter antacids. So going back to my friends who are trying to get me to get the health insurance, one of them has a foot injury right now, and they made an appointment to go to the doctor on Friday, and they told me this morning they got a phone call from that doctor's office that they had the appointment with, and the office had to cancel his appointment because they don't accept his insurance. And they have very, very good insurance. But the clinic that he was going to go to, they didn't renew their contract with his provider. So now he has to hope he can get into a clinic somewhere. And oh, by the way, he can't fucking walk right now. And that's the situation with health insurance. So if you are in another country and you are wondering what's it like for American healthcare, it's a scam. It's literally a scam. It takes thousands of dollars from us every year. They charge our insurance companies insane amounts. And all the people who profit are the doctors and the shareholders. Everybody else, they get shafted. The patients get shafted. The nurses get shafted. The rest of the hospital, the support staff, the people who stock the Pyxis machines, the cafeteria workers, the janitors, they all get shafted. But not the shareholders. Because it's probably worth mentioning that healthcare in America is actually, at this point, super privatized. And that's exactly what the GOP wants. They are literally pricing us out of healthcare. Making America great means making sure millions, tens of millions of Americans cannot afford health care anymore. And just to remind you guys, we could afford it before, barely, but we could afford it. And even my very wealthy friends who have much better options. They got the retirement funds and the 401ks and the this and that and all this, smart grown-up financial stuff. And they can't get a doctor's appointment. And that's Trump's American healthcare.
Victoria, if you could go to DC and say something to these politicians who took away your tax credits, what would it be?
I think I would just ask them to look at the American people as people, not a bill that needs to be written and paid, as people that are trying to live and thrive and contribute to society and the economy. To stop voting left or right, but vote for the American people and what is right for everybody. It's not a party issue. It's a people issue. It's a society issue. If people cannot work, thrive, live, pay their bills, you can't do that if you don't have health care to stay healthy. So to me, it's a no-brainer.
I'm sorry, man. This real life? This can't be real life right now. So I just saw the video of the guy who was saying that he voted for DT because he was going to get rid of Obamacare. He didn't like Obamacare, and he was voting to get rid of it. And he said he wasn't worried because he's unemployed, he's on disability, he's disabled. and he got his insurance through the Affordable Care Act. And when he said it, the guy was like, those are the same things, right? And the look on his face, I kid you not. So he spazzed it out like, why would you name them two different things? So the guy's like, you literally voted to cancel your health insurance, the thing you depend on right now. God, I can't believe, this is what I'm looking forward to personally. The lives that are going to come over the next few years. This is what I'm looking forward to. This is my silver lining, because the jokes are just going to write themselves over the next couple of years. It's funny, but it's not funny. Especially, working in healthcare, working as a healthcare provider, I understand how important it is for people to have their insurance to be able to take care of themselves. But I'm sorry, the literal definition of voting against your own best interest. You have insurance through the Affordable Care Act, but you voted to get your insurance canceled. This can't be real life.
Kid said my kid's insurance is going to be cut off on January 31st. And I'm like, well, why? I thought that y'all cover the children of people, even if the people are working and making too much. She was like, no, if you make over $3,000, it gets cut off. I'm like, I've been making over $3,000 a month since 2024. That's when y'all approved me. She said, you were supposed to be given a 6-month grace period. I said, well, I wasn't. My kids had insurance the whole 2025. And she was like, okay, well, it's not going to be active after January 31st. Instead of what I'm paying right now, $115 every 2 weeks from insurance for myself, now it's going to be $230 every 2 weeks for insurance for me and my 2 children. That's crazy. Almost $500 for me and my 2 kids. Like, actually, wow.
Hi, we're a family of 4 and we don't have insurance. Is there any affordable insurance options that we can afford a month? We make about $80,000 a year. $80,000 a year. You actually are super rich. And insurance, you can afford insurance. It will only cost you, for a family of 4, $700 a month. It's super affordable, I know. $700 a month. But we actually won't cover anything until you pay $20,000 out of your pocket first. And each appointment will cost you about $100 copay, which is super affordable, I know. And each medication, depending, will be $30 and up. $700 out of pocket, that's actually a lot of money. We can't afford $700 a month. I'm a stay-at-home mom. We're barely making ends meet at this point. I can't afford $700 in insurance, and I definitely can't pay $20,000 out of pocket a year. That's just it. I don't know what my other options are. Oh, you can't afford insurance. Okay, yeah, that's totally fine. Well, you have 2 options. Your first option is to die. Yeah, sorry. The second option is to go to that community health center across the street. They'll charge you $50. $50? Oh, that's it? Wow. That's really affordable. They only charge about $50 depending on your income for your appointment, and then your labs. It just depends how much your labs are. Some labs can run you around $10, some up to $50, just depends. And if you go to a good pharmacy, they'll give you a discount. It'll cost you about $10, sometimes $8 for your prescription. How is having no insurance cheaper than having actual insurance? I don't understand, but okay. I think I'll just not have insurance.
So this weekend, my child wound up in a world-renowned children's ER, and then eventually in the hospital. And when I say that America is in crisis mode in regards to healthcare, it's bad, people. Top hospital, world-renowned. My child waited 3 hours to even be seen in the ER, and they were passing out, they were vomiting, they were doubled over in pain. It took 6 hours for them to get pain meds, vitals, anti-nausea meds, fluids. It took 11 hours to get initial imaging. It took 17 hours to get an MRI. All the while, we're still in the ER. They had a bed for us 12 hours into our visit into the main hospital, but we weren't released to the main hospital until 26 hours of us being in the emergency room. We then stayed another 24 hours in the hospital. And when I tell you, like, how frustrating it is that a child who was obviously very sick could not be quickly attended to because of how the healthcare system is right now and the lack of workers and the lack of, I don't know, everything is alarming. Again, this hospital is like the gold standard for children. And the fathers that were yelling at the female nurses was mind-boggling. Like, who the fuck are you to yell at somebody like that? Like, I get it, we're all stressed out, our kids are in the ER, but like, these are people trying to like help your children. And what's like most upsetting to me is like, I've been in the hospital 6 different times this summer, and they're finally narrowing it down to what my issue is, and my insurance is denying the medication that I need to keep me out of the hospital. And insurances continue to do that, and my doctor has appealed, I've appealed, nothing can be done. When I tell you that this healthcare system is collapsing in one of the wealthiest nations in the world, it's fucking collapsing. And we need to be talking about it, and we need to be figuring out what we need to do as our next steps, because it's not good. We cannot survive another pandemic.
I think my least favorite part about the American healthcare system is that you don't really go to the doctor to get fixed anymore. You go to the doctor to get trafficked to like 5 different places to get tests, and then a different specialist, 5 other doctors. And it's like, why did I come here then? To talk to you for 5 seconds and then be sent somewhere else and then be charged $300 for it? Or actually, no, you like touched me, you swabbed my nostril, now it's $1,000. Surprise.
I've got to get the fuck out of this country. I owe the government $11,000 because I, according to them, made too much money and need to pay back my healthcare premium that they gave me through healthcare.gov. $11,000. So I decided to do a little bit of researching myself. I called my primary care doctor and I wanted to ask them a couple of questions. The first question that I asked them is, what is the cost of a wellness visit for a child? That cost, they told me, was $120. I then asked them, well, what is the cost of like visits, like if you're sick? They said $110. So I then asked them, what if you are an adult and you want to come in for like a physical, what does that cost? They said $150. So I started math. I paid $400 a month to have my healthcare insurance last year. The government decided that they gave me roughly $800 in premiums too much. So they want me to pay $1,200 a month to have healthcare insurance. So I started doing the math. I also had a $50 copay. So you mean to tell me if it was a wellness child visit, the insurance company was paying $70 a month. And for me as an adult, they were paying, it was $150, so $50 copay, $100 a month. Hold on. The math ain't mathin'. So I said to the government, you want me to pay $1,200 a month so that you can pay my doctor's visits $70. I still pay $50 copay. And that's just to make sure that I'm healthy. Now I get it. Health insurance is for just in case you're not healthy. Let me tell you a different story. When we first moved to Arizona, we didn't have health insurance, and my husband ended up going to the ER. You know how much the ER visit cost him without health insurance? Roughly like $5,000. But wait. Hold on. This is the best part. I promise. Stick around. So we ended up contacting the hospital and letting them know that we actually didn't have health insurance at the time. We were waiting to get health insurance. And do you know what they did? They reduced his rate to a non-insured rate. And guess what the cost was? They wrote it off. We're not even done. So I got hit by a car last year, right? And at this point, we did have health insurance. So I went to the same ER. Do you know how much my bill was because I had health insurance? My bill ended up being $3,000. And because I had health insurance, they wouldn't write it off. Now, here's the thing, even as a therapist, that people aren't aware of. My rate for self-pay is actually cheaper than the rate for insurance companies. So like if you have a deductible, you pay higher when you use your insurance. So I canceled my insurance this year.
Listen, I'm hearing from people all across the district about the cost of their healthcare premiums. They're really, really worried. Because the ACA tax credit is gone, we're seeing stories, piles of them. One elderly couple from Bay City wrote into me and told me 72% of their monthly retirement income is going toward their healthcare premium. Next year, they are expected to pay $44,000 a year. I mean, how is a couple living on a fixed income supposed to afford that? They don't qualify for Medicare yet. They're really worried, and so are all of the other families that I'm talking about. I talked to someone yesterday whose healthcare premium is going up $20,000. Not $20,000 a year, an additional $20,000 a year. We have to put those tax credits back into the...
All right, as you have seen those clips, now let's have a real conversation about it. What we are seeing here is something very real, policy meeting reality, because healthcare is not theory. It's not something you debate and walk away from. It affects everyday life. Let's simplify it this way. When policy changes, healthcare access can change. That means higher cost, reduced coverage, more stress for families. And when those changes are it, people feel it immediately. Now, here is where it gets uncomfortable because people are asking, how did we get here? And sometimes the answer connects back to decision that we make earlier. But let's be clear, wanting empathy in women, no matter the situation, healthcare has always been one of those things where you don't fully understand it until you need it. And once you need it, it becomes everything. Now, let's talk about perspective here. Because for many Black communities and individuals, navigating healthcare challenges is not new. There is a long history of dealing with limited access, facing higher costs, and advocating for better treatment. So, conversation about affordability, access, and quality care have always been serious, and that awareness comes from life experience. So, when more people begin to pressure in the system, it highlights something important, that healthcare has never been equal to everyone. And understanding that is key to having honest conversation. Let me ask you this. If your health was on the line and your option became limited, would you want understanding too? That's the human side of this. This topic is going up because everyone can relate to it. It doesn't matter where you are from. When healthcare comes difficult, it affects everything. Let's zoom out for a second. This isn't just about one group. It's about system, policy, and long-term impact, because decision made at the top always shows up at the bottom. At the end of the day, this isn't just about pointing finger. It's about understanding, awareness, and better decision moving forward. Because when it comes to it, everyone deserves a fair chance. So let me hear from you. Do you think healthcare should ever be tied to political decision, or should be something guaranteed? Drop your thoughts in the comment below. Let's really talk about it. And if you want more real conversation like this, stay connected, because we are breaking things down in a way that is actually matters. Thank you for watching. I will see you all in my next video.